Does meat cause cancer? Because everyone's on this meat crazed diet, and I'm just going to do some basic Googling here. I'm going to point you in the right direction where you can start to educate yourself based on research and books. And if you want to read a cool book, my friend wrote this book, Meat, the New Cigarette. And you're going to see why that title makes sense here in a second. So, if you do a basic Google search, like you can look at World Health Organizations, you can look at nutritional research, you can look at the CDC, you can look at literally any research about centurions, and you're going to find out that all of them eat low levels of meat. So, we're going to start here off the top. Consumption of all red meat is associated with a 27% to 30% higher risk, respectively. The increased risks were statistically significant, which, like, research doesn't find significant results very often. They find, like, could be possibly marginally, maybe just, statistically close to possibly a cause. But this is statistically significant. Conclusions: increased consumption of red meat, of all meat, red meat, poultry, processed meats are associated with an increased risk of kidney cancer. We're just going to scroll down based on the Googles here. And this is where you dive into the research and realize, oh, okay, something's wrong here. So, red meat is associated with an increased risk of colon and rectum cancer. And evidence also suggests it's associated with other cancers, such as prostate and pancreatic cancer. This is red meat, including beef, pork, lamb. And we're just going to keep going here. So, an analysis of 10 studies estimated that every 50-gram portion of processed meat eaten daily is an increased risk of colorectal cancer by 18%. The cancer related to the consumption of red meat is more difficult to estimate because the evidence that red meat causes cancer is not as strong. Okay. So you're going to have one that says this, you're going to have one that says that. Then you look at the IARC, classified red meat as a group 2A carcinogen, described as probably carcinogenic to humans. Probably carcinogenic to humans, but here we are, anyways, just saying, well, it makes me feel better. I'm not eating a bunch of garbage food all day, and meat doesn't have that much terrible ingredients inside of it, so I just naturally feel better because my body's operating on 2.1 times the mitochondrial energy source, and I've never done this before in my life. So this is based on limited evidence that red meat causes cancer in humans and strong evidence supporting a carcinogenic effect. So strong evidence supporting a carcinogenic effect, but like that being the main reason that people get cancer, they can't say that this is the real reason everyone's getting cancer. It's research. The more you read it, the more you're going to find it conflicting. But then, I'm the type of person that when I read research and I see stuff like this, and then I look at centurion research, I'm like, hell no. So thus, evidence suggests an optimally healthy diet low in red meat. The IARC and World Health Organization classified meat as a group 1 carcinogen in the same category as smoking cigarettes. Media indicated that eating bacon or hot dogs is as bad as smoking. It's crazy. Do vegans get cancer? When researchers asked nearly 70,000 volunteers about their diet and then tracked them over time, they found lower cancer rates among the people who didn't eat meat at all. So this is where you start to think to yourself, and you would use logic here. You wouldn't go based off of emotion. You'd go based off of pure logic that studies suggest that there's an increased chance of cancer. Do you want cancer? If you do not want cancer, then you should probably consider avoiding the things that are suggested in research to cause cancer. Because you can see here that, in fact, vegans, those who don't eat animal products at all, fish, dairy, or eggs, appear to have the lowest rates of cancer in any diet. So if we're just going based off of cancer alone, this is one statistic that I don't think anybody wants to have to die from. This would say that you probably shouldn't eat meat. And then you can keep going through here and you can see, like, in 2008, based on 800 studies, they classified meat as a carcinogen, meaning that there is enough evidence to conclude that it can cause cancer in humans. The evidence of red meat was less definitive. So there are different types of meats out there. So IRCA classified it as a possible carcinogen. So now I'm not sure if you're familiar with centurion research, but we found that most centurions traditionally eat whole foods. These are single ingredient foods. This is why I push single ingredient foods that are healthy for your gut microbiome. So you can see raw, cooked, ground, fermented, not highly processed, eat raw fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and then they cook them slowly. And then a big reason for cooking here would be AGEs. So AGEs are advanced glycation end products. So these are protein lipids and they're glycated to the exposure of sugars. So this is why when you're consuming high sugar diets, very often you're causing glycation in your body. So you can see a biomarker in aging developing or worsening of any degenerative diseases, diabetes, atherosclerosis, chronic kidney disease, and Alzheimer's disease. So this is where whenever you're literally thinking about your life and a long-term goal, this is where eating once a day has a very high correlative value to the overall longevity of the human being, because you're not constantly causing glycation in your body through consuming food. You're allowing when the exposure of your proteins to sugars renders them dysfunctional, useless, you're then not causing that to happen very often. And fasting allows autophagy to kick in, so it cleans those proteins. So, for instance, Alzheimer's disease right here, if you have your ApoE epsilon 4 gene, so APEO4, so you can look up your APE epsilon gene. So this is a 4 times increased risk for Alzheimer's disease. So anybody that has this gene has a higher likelihood of developing Alzheimer's. So if you look into your genetics with your family, which is why we do gene tests, if you look into what your genetics predispose you to, then you're able to change those, which is epigenetics. You don't have to suffer from the same things your family suffered from, but if you don't change the things that you are pre-exposed to, you will probably end up suffering and or dying from them. So there's a bunch of research out there. There's a lot of conflicting research out there, but just based on Centurion research alone, like the blue zone diet. So if you look at the blue zone diets, these are just one thing. People in the blue zone diets consume sugar intentionally, but not by habit or accident. So intentionally consuming your foods. What diets make you live the longest? Eat more beans, whole grains, nuts, less red meats or processed meats is estimated the most effective way to increase life expectancy for individuals with a typical diet. So when you have people online pushing these, oh, eat this, eat this, eat this, based on what research? Based on what research supports this? Because this is where you find on the internet that people develop a personality. Their personality is resonating around one specific thing, and then they have to support that one specific thing, because if they don't support that one specific thing, then their entire ego, their entire personality crumbles. So even if there is research, like check this out. Do you know what TMAO is? So TMAO, and this is from animal products, so meat, egg, full fat dairy products. TMAO, inflammation. Hit enter on that one. Please do your own research. Please look into people that tell you to eat things. The worst advice in the world is free advice, because that free advice is not based off of you as an individual. It's based off of speaking into the universe, based off their singular perspective or perception. So, as considered, chronic inflammatory disease initiated by vascular endothelial inflammation injury. Both observed in experimental studies suggest that TMAO could cause endothelial inflammation injury. And if you ever don't know what these words mean, just right click, Google search it. Congratulations, you are an Android just as I am. And then you're going to be able to jump into research. And then you're going to be able to learn about the effects of these things on your heart and cardiovascular system. Does TMAO cause inflammation? Well, exacerbated inflammation, reduced antioxidant capacities in the plasma and the liver. How do you lower TMAO? By increasing whole food fiber plants in general. Oh, I thought plants are bad. So there's a lot of conflicting research that you're going to come across out on the internet. But the most important thing to do is do your own research. Like, is chicken carcinogenic? It says no, things such as chicken and fish are not linked to an increased risk in cancer. This is why occasionally people that are centurions will have fish and eggs, like raw vegan, vegetarian, plus fish and eggs. Those are all of the ones across all of the research that you're going to go dig into, read through the books. Seriously, I challenge you. Read through all the books, read through all the research, and tell me that half the shit that people are saying nowadays out loud is actually real. So, World Health Organization classified ham, bacon, salami, and Frank Kurtz as group 1 carcinogens known to cause cancer, which is strong evidence that processed meats cause cancer. So, obviously, there's unprocessed meats, there's grass fed beef, there's whatever logic people are going to use to make you, as the consumer, randomly think that there is some sort of random association with the random words that somebody's telling you. Go do this, go do this, go do your research, continue to read, continue to research, stop taking advice that random people give you based off of loose information. And yes, There are many people out there in the world that are suffering, but I guarantee you your suffering is because you have not put in the work, read the books, and done the research. So now when one random person comes around with their shirt off, looking all fit and telling you that they feel better, and then someone else says that they try it and they feel better, that does not mean that it is right for you. So eating processed meat, which is like lunch meat, that's obviously bad. It's very, very bad. And then eggs, it says egg can be a source of carcinogenic chemical that formed in high temperature frying. So, like back to high temperature frying, back to AGEs, whenever people are cooking these. So, cooking these foods, harmful proteins. What foods have AGEs? It says the highest foods in AGEs include meat, especially red meat. And then advanced glycation end products are proteins that become glycated in the exposure to sugars. So protein is technically a sugar in your body. Protein, same thing. It's all processed in the kidneys. That's why you have the increased chances of kidney issues. So the biomarkers implicated in aging and the development or worsening of many degenerative diseases, diabetes, atherosclerosis. So have fun with heart disease. And if you don't know what atherosclerosis is, it's the buildup of fats and cholesterol and other substances in the artery walls and what's in meats, fat and cholesterol. So I'm just here to be that like random voice in the back of your head that says, go read the books and research. Don't just take random advice from random people on the internet without having any sort of medical test done or determining factors whether or not this is right or wrong for you. Because I can't sit here and tell you that there's a best diet for you. I can give you research, I can give you research, I can give you resources, I can give you books to read. But if you want a diet that is correct for you, you need to work with somebody and get tested. Don't guess. Test. Figure it out. Like you can see it right here. Certain cheeses, fried eggs, butter, cream, margarines, mayonnaise, certain nuts even cause it. So fried foods are the ones that are highly processed. So cooking your foods, burning them using oils, denaturing those oils. I can sit here all day and tell you how to do things, but you, my friend, are not going to want to do those things unless you believe that they're true. So please, please, please do your own research. And if you want some free research, you can start here on the website. Link's going to be down below. Go to the health page, click on that health page right there, click on the consent because it's like a metal disclaimer, like, oh, this is just information. Here's a good grouping of books to read. If you're actually depressed and have anxiety, it's probably based on your diet and lifestyle. And then click become homeostatic. There's going to be so many research links on all of these papers that you're going to be busy for the next like 5 months. So please, please, please do your own research. And I'll see you in the next video.